and welcome to another edition of Thoughts of the Roundtable with me, Matt Rebar.
And I'm Paul Louts.
And suddenly 40 people unsubscribed, which has happened before in this podcast, so it's not the first time.
That was a good one, man.
But what's shaking, Bacon? Are you ready for some news and some advice?
I am, man. I really am.
Well, you know, we're just going to cut right to the chase on this one. This one is a nice and tight, it's a very quick to the chase episode today.
All right, so I've been watching, I think I told you a couple minutes ago, but a bunch of podcasts lately, like on science. And I don't know why I got into this lately. I just got kind of a weird kick. And one of them was from Neil deGrasse Tyson. Mm. And do you know in Arizona there's that meteor crater? You ever heard about that?
No. Tell me about this.
Okay, it's a minor meteor that hit Earth, I think like 50,000 years ago or something. Okay. And it was friendly the way he phrased. Basically, it was a city destroyer. Like it would literally level the city. Mm-hmm. But overall, like for the species, not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. But and there's a point to this, I promise.
Okay, I'm hanging on.
Basically, it hit right when the indigenous people were coming like across the land bridge.
Oh, what's the name of land bridge?
The Bering Strait. No, where's that?
Is it the Bering Land Bridge?
What is the Bering Strait? Am I just a dumbass?
No, I know the land. Oh, here we go. Land bridge. It is the Beringia. Bering. It's the.
But I was in that area.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it was when they were crossing that and coming to
Coming to America
is when it hit. And so he's like, I'm surprised that people aren't like F this place and just went right back across the land bridge. But anyways, so and this kind of freaked me out. And there was an article written up about it, about how, like I said, that was basically a city destroyer asteroid. It would level like New York City or something. And NASA came out, and he's kind of sparked this. NASA came out, was like, yeah, we wouldn't be able to catch those meteors. It's like, it would come literally out of nowhere. Wow. And one almost did, like, a month ago, that, like, just basically kissed us and, like, flew by.
I love a good kiss. Wait, I feel like we talked about this.
Not.
Was there another meteor?
I don't know. We might have been the same one.
Okay.
But, yeah, like, they came out, it was like, yeah, we wouldn't be able to catch that. It would just destroy, like
a nice chunk.
So that wasn't too comforting. Also came out that there was a parasite that I don't know. This is weird stuff. That will allegedly cause zombie-like behavior. Now it's just
and I've heard
I think it's just people trying to get into the news, like their names maybe. I don't know. But I've also heard a couple biologists say that like the zombie virus is already here in the form of rabies. Like that would be the one.
You know what? That makes sense.
Like if there were anything to mutate to cause a zombie like behavior.
Sounds like a really maybe good antagonist in like a DC Comics universe who would like harness the power of rabies to cause zombies.
And you know, apparently they can't confirm rabies in something until they cut its head off.
Yeah, apparently you have to go to the brain.
Like something with the spinal fluid too. Like they can't confirm it until.
That's so weird.
So yeah, that's.
Well, wait. What does the parasite do to cause zombie-esque?
It's a lot of weird biology stuff I don't understand. But basically, it attacks your nervous system, and it kind of like. It just basically destroys your intuition and logic, and basically
that sounds like me drunk at the club on Friday. So I'm over it.
So it kind of makes it like animalistic, and obviously it's a parasite, so it can be spread
parasitically.
Parasitically. But also the plague is back.
Oh my God! Really?
It popped. It never really went away. To be totally honest,
it's because people aren't taking their shots.
Well, there's no vaccine for the plague. It's just there's no cure at all.
People need to take their shots. I'll say it again.
Right, but it actually, for some reason, the bubonic plague weirdly loves Colorado.
Oh,
and we'll have.
Is it because of the weed?
I think.
I don't know. I mean, that's just the first time.
But it pops up. It's because of fleas, and they think it's because there's a lot of like nature hippies out there.
Oh,
and so they'll get like if you get the bubonic plague, I think the mortality rate's like 1% now. Like it's pretty much easily.
Is it like an easy antibiotic thing?
You can rid it with antibiotics.
So it's more of like an Instagram, like, I got the bubonic plague this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. You will be sick as shit for like months. It will wreck you. You'll survive, but it will wreck your ass.
It's just that back then, diarrhea was deadly.
Well, Then also their sanitation was piss poor at best. But also, it caused me to read about this, and I don't understand why. But Poland never got the plague. Like literally, just like went around them, and they cannot figure out why. Like to this day, like nobody got.
There must have been something that they were eating? Or?
There's a lot of because there's one person who said, well, the trade routes didn't really go through Poland, which is how a lot of the stuff. Oh. But also their sanitation was much better.
Really? What was their sanitation like in the Middle Ages in Poland?
They would, well, besides Poland, they would literally throw their shit in the streets. No joke. They had these little ducts. And they just must have done something different out there.
They were like, we don't really want public property smeared with crap.
But the problem with this new plague outbreak is that it was in China.
Oh,
and everyone's like,
Because it's on China. I'm so
they're
upset.
They're really close out there.
So upset with the NBA thing. I'm upset. And the South Park thing.
I forgot about
kind
that.
Of funny. I know that it's that. Well, because it wasn't a big deal to most people, but anyway, moving on. Before we're banned in China, which wouldn't surprise me.
I think they do have a different form of it. By the way, it's funny you bring this up. I just had a buddy who just visited China out there, just as a vacation. And he told me, he goes, you don't understand how hard it is to actually get around. Because they have separate internet out there. They don't have like the same internet we have.
Yeah.
And so he landed in the, there, and he's like, well, I want to take an Uber to his Airbnb. And I guess their Ubers and taxis are kind of like the same thing. Like, imagine if Yellow Taxi and Uber combined, like, to one thing.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's extremely difficult to find a cab that isn't already on a ride to somebody else with this Chinese version of Uber. And so he was like, okay, I'll just download their version of Uber. Well, the problem is you can't download it unless you have a Chinese social security number.
What?
Yeah, you can't download you have to be a Chinese citizen. So you have to have. So he couldn't download so he spent like 2.5 hours trying to find a free cab to get to
That's
his
ridiculous.
hotel. And then there was another thing where
I never really wanted to go to China, and now I really don't want to go to China.
And there's a couple other things like that. There was another app, I think it was something with his airline, where he had to use to like check in to get back home, but you had to have a Chinese social security number again. And he couldn't do. He said it was like a nightmare just to try to like get around. Like he generally liked
is that
it,
just because they're keeping tabs on people?
They're a very strict communist country, so yeah.
Oh my lord.
Also,
when's that gonna go away? When are we gonna?
Sorry to just ramble on about random stuff, but I learned so much this week. I also found out that in North Korea, there is one Steam account.
Wait, what?
There's one Steam account in North Korea. And who do you think that is?
Kim Jong-un. Yeah. Jesus Christ. I can't with... You know what? At least China, you can try and take an Uber. In North Korea, you're stuck not on Steam. Jesus.
Can you imagine that just being like you're playing like Rocket League or something? Also, like Kim Jong-un gets in.
Jesus. You know what I learned, actually, that might really surprise you?
What's that?
Russia was the first country to ban lobotomies.
Well, how did you find that out?
I was doing a book on tape about, like, this idea of emotion and logic and how we look down upon emotion and favor logic, when then the truth is, like, the two work and blend. Yeah. And, this idea of, like, lobotomies at first were, like, accepted because, like, easy. Go in there and tinker around.
Isn't that a weird thing to think about, like, that humans did?
There's so many weird things that like people have done that like why?
Remember last episode we were talking about how we thought humans are generally based on good, and here we are drilling holes into people's brains. Well, they're like, "Oh shit, hell."
Here's my thing though. Maybe I'm wrong. How do you the first country to be like, you know what, lobotomies? It's a total lack of human rights, and it's just terrible. And then you go on to do so many terrible things to other human people.
Who was the first person to be like, I gotta know how to fix this. Let me get my drill.
No, the dude who first started lobotomies got a Nobel Peace Prize for it.
Are you serious?
Yes, they genuinely thought that he had unlocked like the next way to treat like heavy emotion and mental illness.
Oh my god!
So what happened is you'd have all these people who were like emotionally distraught or just maniac, whatever,
or just mentally ill,
and they would scrape the brain, and then they'd be like dummies for the rest of their life.
You're basically a zombie after one, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's scary, man.
I know.
It's like how they used to treat blood disease with leeches. They would just like throw a whole bunch of leeches on you.
Oh God, which.
Okay, and so there was another man who was arrested on gun charges.
Of course.
Because he was just discharging his gun in his house. Obviously.
Why?
Let me get there. So you get the police called on him. He got arrested. He claimed he was shooting at Bigfoot trying to get into his house.
Oh my God. Was he on meth? Coke? What was
I don't
the deal
think
there?
so.
No. There's something there.
Speaking of meth, have you seen South Dakota's new
Okay,
ad?
I've heard of it. Tell me about it because I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it.
It's literally the weirdest thing you have to watch it.
This is what I've heard. I've heard that it says meth, I do it or something, and then
We're
it's
on
like
it.
$500,000 were spent on this PSA. I heard that it's like
it's literally just a PSA that says we're all on meth.
What's the point of it?
I don't know.
Is it anti-meth?
I don't know what the point, like, and they did literally spend $500,000 on it, and I don't know what the outcome they thought would be. I mean, it's odd and it's unusual. What didn't, oh man, wasn't it Nebraska that had a state tourism ad come out and said, there's not really much here. There's nothing to do here.
I don't know.
I think it was Nebraska.
You know what my favorite PSA, though, is right now?
What?
The Denial, Ohio ad. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It takes place in Denial, Ohio. And it's a bunch of people who are like, oh, no one does cocaine here. Oh, no one does heroin here. Oh, no one does...
Is Denial, Ohio, really city?
I don't know if it is or not, but like the whole point is that these people who are in Ohio are in denial that there's like drug issues in Denial, Ohio.
Denial isn't just a river in Egypt.
Yeah, clearly, it's a town in Ohio that is not adamant that there's drugs going on. So.
Speaking of Ohio and commercials,
yes.
I have to admit, I saw one of the most realistic commercials ever the other day. Have you seen that those progressive ads with Baker Mayfield? Where he's
I'm not a fan of them. I thought there's so much potential you could have done with Baker.
The one I liked is that because he's acting like the stadium is his house.
Yeah.
And the one is he hears the smoke detector beeping because it's dying, and he's walking around the stadium trying to find the smoke detector that's beeping. I literally did that in my house like a week ago, and it just hit feels, man.
Real quick, because I'm not that big into sports, but this whole Myles Garrett situation,
oh boy,
I have to ask you thoughts, because this show's called Thoughts.
Oh man, well here's the thing. There's an old rule with fighting, okay, like just fighting.
Yeah.
And that is, you never start shit you can't finish.
And you know what? I 100% agree with you.
He clearly started it, Mason Rudolph. Obviously, he clearly started. And here's the problem. He should never obviously have used... My logic, I swear, I stand by this. If he had just dropped his helmet and literally just cold-cocked him across the face... I don't think he'd be suspended for more than like 3 games. But obviously you can't.
It's the helmet.
You can't beat someone with their own helmet. But I literally have no problem with all of him fighting back. Literally no problem with it at all.
Well, you look at the tape, and here's the truth of it. I think people who are Brown supporters, people in Cleveland, are like, well, look at Mason Rudolph. He started it, right?
And
everyone else is just like, well, it's just unacceptable. And I think most people can agree, yeah, should he have tossed the helmet? No.
Obviously, he should.
But you have to think about the level of escalation when you see Mason Rudolph starting the fight and trying to take off Myles Garrett's helmet. We don't know what was said. There could have been something said there. It's like, and he's kicking Myles in the balls.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why, if you're gonna fight, why are you gonna fight dirty?
Yeah,
that's just dirty.
The whole situation was just
and
what makes me upset. I do think Myles Rudolph should have been suspended for a couple games.
Obviously.
I think that is really
well.
The problem.
If they both got 3 games, I'd have been like, you know what, we're squashed. It's good.
I mean, 3 from Mason. I do think Myles, maybe 5 or 6. I think that would just the helmet is really the part.
Even if they said he was done for the season and then Rudolph got some games, I'd be like, you know what, we're done.
You know, he's appealing this week. I'm very curious to find out if there really is more to it that we don't know.
Apparently in the players' agreement, indefinite suspensions aren't allowed. You cannot indefinitely suspend someone, according to the players' agreement. So I don't know what's.
Well, is he definitely? He's definitely out the rest of this year.
Oh, he's done. Yeah, he's totally done, which sucks. But it's just. It sucks because Rudolph was clearly... He had a horrendous game. Yeah. Absolutely awful. Yeah. And he was a little bitch and decided to try to pick a fight. He damn lost that fight. And then he gets pissed when he loses the fight.
I'm just curious, like I said, this week if we find out more... Well, we're recording this a little ahead of schedule. You listeners, you know we're doing both these back to back. You don't care, do you? But no, going off of it, I would be not surprised if there was, hey, there's a little bit more context that we're missing as an audience. But
I don't think he'd be suspended more than 3 games if he would have just dropped the helmet and just straight up punched him in the face.
Well, you live and you learn. And he's a good guy, though. He genuinely is a good guy.
Well, he's got a temper. He punched someone on Jacksonville.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and he got in trouble for that one.
Well,
but he's got a temper. Yeah. But the thing is, it should have never been escalated there.
Yeah.
He started the fight. I mean, yes, he shouldn't have hit him with the helmet. I get that. But damn, it was kind of funny though.
Well, are you ready for a little bit of that advice with me, Matt?
Yes, but first, just one thing.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever seen this. Just to cap this, I've never seen Steelers fans turn on their own players. Even they are. And,
really?
Mason Rudolph posted an Instagram post just of him just throwing a football Like, didn't have any caption. It was just him throwing. Yeah. This dude got shredded by everyone. Yeah. And the best one, I think, I'll have to give, is someone said, you left last game with 4 interceptions and a dent.
Oh, man.
All right.
Well, I'm excited. Well, not excited. That's the wrong word. But I am intrigued at where that's going to go. All right. So these are 3. I'm right, Paul. These 3 advices are outrageous today. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dear Abby. Here we go with Abby. I work retail and I have bipolar disorder, and a few Christmases ago, a customer called me hateful because I wished her a Merry Christmas. My manager and coworker explained that she was in a bad mood. It wasn't my fault, but due to my illness, I'm obsessed with thoughts that it will happen again during the holidays, and I won't know what to say or how to react. Worse yet, I no longer want to say Merry Christmas again, although I try. Do you have any advice? And Abby's like, you did nothing wrong. When December rolls around, the expressions Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays are common. If a customer takes offense, all you need to say is, excuse me if I offended you. And if you're worried, discuss it with a doctor or therapist. This is outrageous. And here's why. Yes, if someone says Merry Christmas to you and you don't celebrate Christmas, it is all right to say, oh, I don't celebrate. That's totally all right. To get offended like that and like storm out and
I would say it's a stretch.
Hateful and spiteful.
I think it would be a stretch to even say I don't celebrate. It's like, just okay, thank you.
I mean, I don't think it's a stretch. I think you're well within your right to be like, I don't think that's a stretch. I'm just saying, it's not like someone's like, you bitch, Merry Christmas. Like, you can get offended all you want.
Right.
I can't, and it's also a great lesson of like, you never know who you're talking to. Like this girl for years, 7 years, is like a little wrecked up about this. Like, I don't know what to say because this experience I had. It's like, dude.
Just do you.
Oh my God. Isn't that scandalous? I think it's a little scandalous. Well, we're going to up the ante with this one from Dear Carolyn. Dear Carolyn, lately I've noticed my 30-year-old daughter, a mother of 3, has not been wearing a bra, and it's obvious. Ooh. And while she's very small-chested, it's a matter of modesty to me and cultural norms, I guess. How can I nicely let her know how I and her sisters, and I'm sure others, feel about it? And this is from Modeston, Kansas. And Dear Carolyn goes off. She snaps. Carolyn says, not your breasts, not your business. And I low-key want that as a t-shirt. Not your breasts, not your business. Before you act on urges to correct a woman's appearance, or any adult's, really, based on your own notions and property, please give a long think to where you learned these rules and how you enforce them and how deeply you've internalized them to the point of assuming the shamer's role. Haven't people in societies and governments have enough to say about how women live and how they cover and use their bodies? And aren't mothers of 3 judged by enough people or by enough scales and arbitrary standards? And had you been asked 3 decades ago which you'd want for your daughter, please tell me that you would have chosen supportive people over supportive undergarments. And it's just, it's ridiculous. Like, really, a bra. There are so many bigger things.
I guess it depends on context.
I mean, even if they're hanging low, who cares?
I mean, it is. I will admit that it's a cultural norm.
It is a cultural norm.
I'll admit that.
Here on Thoughts on the Round Table, we do not do norms.
I know. I'm trying to be devil's advocate here.
No, and I appreciate that. But I mean, genuinely, it is such a stupid thing for you to get concerned when it has nothing to do with you. It's one of those examples of like, you're not affected.
I don't know.
Okay, you're visually affected?
Again, I'm trying to take the other side here, but it's like, if it was like one of your events and someone... It's like if someone dressed up... I wouldn't say it's slobby, but if someone dressed up like a slob...
That's on them, not me.
Yeah, but it kind of reflects on you if it's your thing and you invite... I don't know. I'm trying to think from the other side.
Also, like a mother of 3, I mean, like, girl's running around town. She doesn't have time to be getting these supportive bras.
I guess that's all I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out how it would make me mad.
But that's the thing. I don't think it would. I think you're struggling to find a...
I don't think I would care enough, personally.
Yeah, why would you care? Easy.
Also, how the hell do you ask that? Bring that up.
I mean, and it's your daughter, too. Like, how about you be like, do you mean to... Are you good? What's going on?
No, if my kid's not showering, I'd be like, bro.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's differences there, but... This one is juicy. My coworker saw the Excel sheet I used to track his sick days.
Is she a
AskAmanager.org. Ready? I made a mistake and a coworker saw the Excel sheet that I was using to track his repeated absences. I'm not his supervisor.
Oh.
But I've been flabbergasted at the amount of sick days my colleague takes. It started immediately when I started working here, and I've been tracking it in January to see how many he takes in 2019. It's always, I have a migraine. I have food poisoning. I have fever and chills. They're all one-day absences. He's back the next day, so it's not like he's getting cancer treatments or something. It always sounds fake to me, but he gets sick days, so I guess he uses them, right? And I've really never used sick days. Should I just start taking off these extra 12 days a year? Should I ignore the fact that I'm sure he saw me tracking him? And after 14 months of him doing this, it doesn't seem like an issue with my supervisors, sort of thing. And then I also talked to my coworkers about this.
This bitch.
Yeah, right? It's just a whole list.
Yeah,
yeah, like,
this bitch.
It gets worse. It gets worse. Okay, so Allison, I mean, poor Allison is like, where to start? I literally had to go through her she had a long response. Basically, it's not a good idea to track your coworker's sick time. You should just stop doing that immediately. It comes across as a huge and inappropriate overstep if anyone finds out about it. It's not your business. It risks making you look to your manager that you're not clear on the boundaries of your role and that you're not respectful to people.
Plus, people just might need mental health
that's
days,
the thing.
dude.
Your conclusion that he's lying could be wrong. And there's plenty of reasons why he could be struggling with something real. And yeah, it's kind of really creepy that you're keeping these tabs on him and trying to solve a crime.
If you have the days, you have the days.
You're not Nancy fucking Drew. Calm down. As for your own sick time, if you don't use any, then yeah, go ahead and use a little bit more of it. Absolutely. And also, stop talking about it to your colleagues. It's unkind and toxic. And then she says too, and I don't think you should say anything to him about the sheet he saw. There's nothing you can say here that would make him feel better. Resolve to do better in the future and move on. Thank you.
My God, what a busybody bitch.
That is so messed up on so many levels. It's the sheet and the gossiping and the fact that you're doing, X and Y. It's just
my buddy had someone in his office who used to count his pen clicks.
Oh my God! Who has the time? I don't have the time. I'll tell you that.
No.
What another rousing edition of Thoughts of the Round Table. How do you feel about that?
I feel good.
I feel really good.
I feel vindicated.
I just hope the Myles Garrett stuff isn't old news by the time this comes.
Probably will be.
All right. Well, until then, peace out.
Later.